Let's get started, everyone. So my name is May Seva. I am the Communications Associate on our Inclusive Democracy team. I'm really excited for this training because I think it really reflects a need in the advocacy world, and it signals just how fast the social media and digital landscape is changing. So I still remember not that long ago when TikTok was seen as nothing more than an app for teenager dance videos, right? And it's come a really, really long way from that. So the truth is that TikTok is the app of the future, and it's become the app of choice for many millennials and Gen Zers. And with that said, let's dive right into our agenda for today. So in a brief moment, I'm going to introduce you to our wonderful panelists, all who are experienced TikTokers themselves. Then I'll hand it over to them to go over how to launch a TikTok account, how to create TikTok content, what are some best practices on TikTok, and finally, how to grow your audience. And we're going to leave some room for Q&A, so make sure to write down any burning questions you may have throughout the presentation. We're going to try to get to as many questions as possible at the very end. We really want this to be interactive. And with that said, I'll hand it over to you now, Shauna.
Hey everyone, so happy to be here. My name is Shauna Burton. I am the Social Media Associate for Public Citizen. I'm from Sugar Hill, Georgia, and a recent graduate from American University. And before my time at Public Citizen, I was the social media manager for Reverend Warnock's 2020 Senate race. And I'm so glad to be talking to you all about TikTok today. And I'm going to hand it over to Alyssa to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Franke. I am the digital director for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, originally from Los Angeles, but I've been in DC for a while now. Before I joined Senator Gillibrand's office, I was also working on the Reverend Warnock campaign with Shauna. We had a fantastic time together. I was also on the Texas Senate race and Elizabeth Warren's presidential race. So 2020 was a very busy year for me. So really excited to be here with you all and talk about TikTok. So I'm kicking it over. Who's next on the introductions list here? I'll kick it over to Madeline. Madeline, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Hey everyone, Madeline Toomey here. I'm the president of a consulting practice called Revisit Maine. I'm also an advisor for Gen Z for Change, where Victoria, who will introduce herself in a second, is also from. My background, I've been working in progressive politics for the last 10 years or so. My background is primarily in advertising. And then I became really fascinated in the world of influencers and content creators, which is kind of how I ended up here and as a TikTok advocate. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey y'all, I'm Victoria. I am the Deputy Executive Director of Gen Z for Change, and I have the privilege of working with Madeline on that. I'm also a content creator on my own. I've got my own platform, which is just at Victoria Hammett. And I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I just graduated from the University of Southern California. So I'm excited to be here too. Thanks for having me.
All right, and I'm gonna get it started with talking about launching a TikTok account. But before we get started, we're gonna have you all answer a quick poll that is, what is the first thing you should do before starting a TikTok account? And I'm gonna give you all a couple seconds to answer that. And in this, we have the options are creating a marketing plan, make a list of pre-existing content, become familiar with the platform, and hiring a videographer. All right, so it seems that most of you picked become familiar with the platform, which I am going to be discussing. And then others also pick creating a marketing plan and make a list of pre-existing content. So all these things I'll be talking about in this presentation. So moving on. So first things first, like you all voted, you want to get on the app. So before you're launching any platform on any of the channels, you want to get familiar with how the app works, what things are working, what things are not working, and how you fit into that platform. So the first thing I would suggest doing is create an account for your team to share. It does not have to be your organizational account yet. It can be a dummy account, fake account, however you want to call it. but you want you and your team to be familiar with how the app works, what videos are working, what's trending sounds, all those things that we're going to be talking about today. And as you're getting familiar with the app, definitely explore different kinds of videos. So you want to look at videos around your issue area, whether that's voting rights, student debt, any of those things. You can search up on TikTok and watch some of the top performing content in that issue area. You can look at different organizations. It could be the organizations on this panel. It could be other nonprofits. It could be politicians, all that good stuff to kind of get a sense of how other political organizations are using the platform. And one of my favorite things to do is also look at non-political topics, whether your interest is fashion, finance, you like comedy. This is really going to help you get a sense of how the whole entire platform works as a whole and how these creators are creating these short videos. And I find that oftentimes these trends and trending sounds are started from non-political accounts. So it helps you keep on the trends and keeping this to understand what is going on that platform. And as you're looking at these things, you want to compile a list of your favorite TikToks and trends. This is going to serve you later on in terms of having inspiration for what type of videos you want to do. When it comes to launching your platform and someone has to approve that, this is going to help them see, like, this is how other people are doing on TikTok. This is what we could do. So I definitely start off with research and researching the platform first things first. And on the next point would be, while you are researching all that stuff, you also want to create a list of your best performing content on your own platforms. So I like to call this kind of an audit of seeing what platforms worked for you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, graphics, all that good stuff, to kind of see, to be used later on for your TikTok pages. And this is for multiple purposes. The first thing is it's going to help sustain your new platform. So when you're first launching a TikTok account, it can seem overwhelming. You don't know where to start. And I find having a list of existing content I can repurpose helps make it a little less daunting. It also helps with time and capacity. Especially being a small digital shop like myself. Currently, I'm a one-woman digital shop. I definitely am always trying to maximize time, maximize my capacity, and finding this content that I've already done definitely helps with that. And also, this is not limited to just existing video content. And on the next slide, I'm going to talk about how you can use this for tweets and for graphics and things like that. So this is an example of how you can use your tweets or text to create a TikTok account or a TikTok video. On the left-hand side is a tweet that we did at Public Citizen a few months back that talked about college costs and the pay for young workers. And on the right-hand side is a TikTok video that we're going to play that shows how you could use that text in that video.
But Elmo, Rocco has feelings. Don't you think you should apologize to Rocco?
So this is the sticking point, Francesca. He does not have feelings because he is a rock.
So as you see in that video, it was a trending sound that I saw about a month ago that I wanted to use. And instead of me researching, the college costs and researching the pay for young workers, it already existed because we've done the tweet before. So it saved me a lot of time researching, and it saved us a lot of time in terms of vetting that research. Is that research accurate? Things like that, because we tweeted the tweet. So all the research already checks out. And then that last two lines of that tweet I had used as the copy for that TikTok video. So it just overall using repurposing content when you have time can really help with continuing that TikTok page, continuing doing all those things. And I find in the long run, using tweets is one of those ways where I don't have to focus on copy and focus on text and things like that. And then on to my next point is, of course, sometimes you can be low on capacity. And if you're nervous about starting a TikTok account or you're really low on capacity, one of the other things I suggest doing is trying Instagram Reels as something in the interim. This is something that I did for Public Citizen before we launched our TikTok page in September. For a couple months prior, I had used our Instagram page as a way to try out new things, figure out how to be on camera. all that stuff. So using Instagram Reels can help you get a feel for short form videos, and it takes away that initial nervousness of launching a new platform. So you can try new things. I encourage you to experiment with different content and see what's working for your page and what could potentially work for your TikTok page. So on the right-hand side is a screenshot of something I was trying on Instagram, which was using Twitter screenshots and putting a moving background. And that worked for our Instagram page. So I was like, oh, I'll try this for our TikTok page. And it was just as successful. And it was something that I found that I could do that was a lower lift on days where I was shorter on capacity. So having that time to try out new content on Instagram gave me another set of content I could repurpose in the long run. And there's an added bonus that Reels on Instagram can also help grow your IG page and can be repurposed for TikTok. So it's a win-win situation. And on to my next point is that after that, you're going to be doing all this research, you audited your pages, and you found a list of content you can repurpose. It's going to be time to launch your page, of course. So one of the things that I did with first launching my page was I created a proposal to share with my team. I found this a helpful way to get all my thoughts down, as well as showing folks in my organization that ultimately had to approve of us launching a TikTok, my thoughts on how we would use this for our benefit. So just some of the things that you can include is a sample content calendar. Using those videos that you compiled, your favorite TikToks you compiled, your existing content, that can help fill in the gap of the type of content you want to do. Figuring out your approvals process. Understanding what is this approval process going to be for your organization? How are you going to approve trends or approve sounds and things like that? So having that on paper can help in the long run of everyone being on the same page. And then lastly, how will you ultimately gauge success? Success looks different for every organization. That can be you wanting to get more likes or educate folks on a certain topic, things like that. So understanding how you will ultimately gauge the success of your page can help you in understanding what metrics you want to track. If that's going to be likes, if that's going to be video views, if that comments, just having that as an initial starting point. And as you get more familiar with the platform, those metrics can change of what you're interested in. But yeah, so this is just a starting point of how to launch your TikTok account. And now I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa, who will talk about creating TikTok content.
Hi, everybody. So excited to talk this over with you. Before we do, we have a question for you, which will hopefully help us gauge what's the biggest barrier you join TikTok. So what's the number one thing that is stopping your organization from joining TikTok right now? And choose the thing that feels most true to you. There can be a couple of things that maybe are, holding you back, but what's the real big one that's stopping you from joining TikTok? So everybody just drop your answers in. We'll hopefully have results here in just a second. All right. So it looks like the top two responses are you don't have enough team capacity and not enough knowledge of the platform. So team capacity, definitely understand that one. I am also a one-woman shop at the moment, so that's a big issue. But let's talk a little bit about how to get you more familiar with the platform so you can start building your own platform and creating TikToks on your own. Can you go to there we go. All right, so let's get started with the basics of how to create videos on TikToks. So there's a screenshot here of the app when you're actually filming videos featuring my cat, who very much was not happy to be a part of this process. The important thing to emphasize, especially for those of you who are concerned about capacity, is that you do not need a videographer, expensive cameras, or expensive software in order to be creating videos for TikTok. It is one of the platforms that truly has basically every tool that you need built into it. In fact, one of my favorite comments on a TikTok that we had recently for a video that was actually filmed on a nice camera was someone replied, "This is a little too high quality. It's freaking me out a little bit." So people like the more organic look of if you are actually filming straight from a cell phone or from TikTok itself. So spend some time getting familiar with the tools here. I spent a lot of time on my own personal TikTok creating videos and then deleting or making them private very quickly, just getting familiar with the mechanics of it, how it worked, how it, best performed for people. You can see there's a very easy record button that's right in there. You have some effects that you can start seeing how they work even before you hit film. You can upload materials for that. So videos, photos, videos you've already recorded elsewhere, and then get familiar with the tools on the right-hand side of the screen here and how they make you look when you are filming on the device that you are most likely going to be filming on regularly. There's an enhanced filter, or sometimes called a beauty filter, which can make your videos look different, especially if you have a person in front of them, help correct skin tone issues. There are filters where you can correct some lighting issues. There's the timer and a few more functions we'll get into in just a moment here. So let's talk more about creating videos within TikTok itself. We actually have a screenshot here from Shauna, but let's talk a bit about the actual what you should be doing here. So selfie style videos where you are facing the camera directly and just recording right there to it are usually what does well on TikTok. One of the things that can be helpful, especially if you are going to be the face of your TikTok, is to get familiar with the timer feature. TikTok videos usually are very fast, very short, very rapid. So you're going to go from beat, beat, beat pretty quickly. And that's not how humans usually talk. We usually talk a little bit more, maybe something, and especially if you don't have a teleprompter in front of you and you're trying to go off memory or just, say how you are feeling in that moment, it can get a little bit more choppy. So timer feature, 3, 2, 1, you record and give part of it, stop, record the next part, and then you can actually, in the editing feature, adjust your clips. So make them a little bit closer together, make things go a little bit faster, and that gets you the really fast-paced speaking style that is particularly popular on TikTok. Oh, sorry, something I meant to mention earlier but didn't. TikTok videos are usually less than 3 minutes. You actually, when you are filming, have the option to choose, to swipe through and choose if it's going to be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes, and then now there is a 10-minute max on TikTok, which I've never used and I've never seen anybody use. But if someone wants to go full Taylor Swift all too well, Godspeed, let me know how that performs, but I don't think people are going to sit through and wait for it. Faster is usually better, with some exceptions, which I'll talk about later on. Some of the effects that you might find that you use most frequently are a green screen effect, where you have video or images in the background. There's one that's like you can have your hand come up and the photo comes up on the hand. I would practice it with that a couple of different times up against a couple of different background and lighting situations. It can be a little difficult to figure out the first couple of times. You want to get the lighting right. You want to have a extremely blank background, not like this. This is not the background that you want to normally be filming on if you're going to be using green screen there. Yeah, just keep practicing with those. So let's talk a little bit about if you are going to be creating videos, not necessarily within TikTok, and using a principal. I believe this is mostly orgs and different groups in here that won't usually be working with a principal. But for those of you who are going to be or potentially will be in the future, let's talk about some of the ups and downs with it. So obviously I work with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and we have a very limited time in which we can actually do filming directly with her. And one of the things that I find a little difficult is that TikTok can occasionally be glitchy, and recording outside of the app and uploading separately may be your best option. TikTok is extremely good, especially if it's just you and you can re-record a take, no problem. But I have run into issues before. I've got 2 screenshots of TikTok videos here, which you can go see on Kirsten Gillibrand's account. The one on the left was supposed to be a stitch, a video reply in which you are taking someone else's video, clipping 5 seconds to it, and then appending your response afterwards. I did the whole thing, had it set up, stitched, recorded with the senator, and stepped away to go finish editing and posting it. And TikTok did some weird glitchy refresh thing where it completely deleted the first video that I had been stitching with, and I lost everything. And I managed to save her video, but it didn't look quite right in the end. So sometimes you need to record outside of the app, have those videos, and then upload them separately to TikTok. You don't need to, but if you're working with someone with a limited time and a tight schedule, that might be your best option. The other thing to remember, if you're going to be uploading videos to TikTok that you have recorded somewhere else, let's say that you've had a big rally and there's lots of people present there and you've got a lot of like great footage, you weren't recording in the app itself, but you got a lot of good conversations elsewhere that you're putting on your YouTube account, your Twitter account, your Facebook account, and you also want it to be on your TikTok account. The important thing to remember is that vertical videos, those 9:16 videos, are the ones that are going to be performing best. Now you can upload to TikTok and try to edit there. I use Premiere Rush, which is a very cheap and easy video editing software where you can just cut it to 9:16. You can technically upload regular horizontal videos to TikTok. It doesn't look great. It's harder to see what's happening in there, and they don't perform as well as when you'd simply just cut it to be 9:16. Premiere Rush, yes, it's called Premiere Rush. It's not the full Adobe Premiere Pro. It's very much a cheaper, beginner's level, much easier thing, and they have a button. It's a one-click thing where you can click and say, I want this 9:16, and you can adjust it to focus on something. I don't generally recommend, like, this is not going to be the bulk of your content, but if you have a very, a special event or something like that, or, your principal did something amazing where someone else recorded it and you want to upload it, that does happen occasionally and you want to repurpose the content. So don't make this the primary focus of what you're doing. It can be useful. The other thing as well that I've found with working with a principal sort of on this theme is that if you don't have a lot of recording time in that particular week that you need to get content coming up, you can repurpose other footage that you have of them, cut for 9:16 and upload that. So that's something that can be useful. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about optimizing your posts. So the big important thing here with TikTok is brevity, and being quick and to the point is key. You're going to want to have concise and engaging copy, the share text at the bottom there. You're going to want 3 to 5 relevant hashtags so that it's easier for your video to be discovered, especially by people who are also searching for content within the same trend. So for this one, filibuster, big important point that you want to get your that hashtag in there so people are finding it. The other thing as well is that you want to add captions to your content. Now, this is good for both accessibility. If you have deaf or hard of hearing individuals who are on TikTok and need to be able to engage with your content. This is also good for people who don't have the best sound quality wherever they're trying to listen to, don't have headphones with them, so they're listening to it on mute. Basically, so that people can keep up, watch, and read along with you as you are, as your video is going, so they can see what it is that you are talking about. You can either add those captions on yourself if this is something that you're experienced with. The excellent thing about TikTok, though, is that they have an automated caption feature where you record your video or you upload your video, you press a button, it will automatically add captions to it. You can then, from that feature, go and edit your captions, which I would definitely recommend doing. TikTok's auto caption feature is extremely, extremely good, but it does make some extremely bad or weird mistakes sometimes. And that can be memeable in some cases. So you want to make sure to go through that, edit the captions, and make sure that they are accurate to what it is that you are discussing, and there isn't any weird mistake in there. So let's talk a little bit more about brainstorming some of the content that you'll want to do. So the big thing first and foremost, for those of you who are thinking about being on TikTok but aren't ready to jump on yet because you're not terribly familiar with the platform yet, get on the platform, make your own account, start going through it on a regular basis, dedicate a couple of, a block of time of your day that you're going to be going through TikTok and doing the research. So not only look for if the topic it is that your organization or your principal focuses on is already being discussed on the platform, and what people are saying about it, who are the top accounts or speakers who are talking about it, but also look more generally into what's going on in TikTok for every general user. You can go to the Discover page there. It's the little compass icon on the bottom of the screen, and you can scroll through that page and see what the top trending hashtags are there, what the top trending effects are there. You can also, the way TikTok works is that the audios of the video can become a trend in and of themselves. For those of us who end up with verified accounts, we can sometimes be limited from engaging with commercial audio. So if it's like a top 10 song that's going on right now, chances are, if you're a verified account, you won't be able to use it. But if you are talking like the audio that Shauna shared earlier with the Elmo sound, that's something that pretty much every account can engage with. Most of the top trending audios that are on TikTok are user-generated audios. So for those of you who have already been on TikTok lately and have been exploring it, you may have heard the, I've never done this in training before, this is slightly embarrassing, the "I'm just a baby" sound. That's a user-generated sound. That's someone that one account has done and made that, and you can use that audio in your own account and do something with that. And so scroll through that Discover page, see what people are regularly talking about even outside of your own issue area, because you may find that those trending audios and hashtags will make for something that can be fun and engaging content for your account. The other thing as well is that short videos usually perform best. And this is where a slightly unpopular opinion, but something I find effective is that when you're building an account and you're building an audience, you don't always want to be chasing the top performance, the top views all of the time, because you also want to build in that trust and respect from your community, especially if you're working with the principal. I can't have Senator Kirsten Gillibrand only engaging with the trends, because that's a little bit too much. How do you do, fellow kids? We need to build that trust in. And so what I find is that one of the best ways to build a community and to actually get people's trust for what you're doing is to do longer videos, 3-minute explainer videos. We had one that I screenshot earlier about how, the history of the filibuster. That one did extremely well for us, and we got a lot of good comments and a lot of good questions on that. And people, respected that she talked to the TikTok community like a smart, engaged community, and was giving them history about an issue that they all care about. Another thing that can help build on top of that, you've got comments, replies, and questions in the comments of your video. Reply to those, engage with them, show that you are reading the comments, that you care about that, and that those videos then also get a lot of engagement as well. And let's go one more page to talk through. I think one of the issues that I've seen in the chat here over on the side on brainstorming content. First, tell a story, start with a bold, engaging hook. People are usually deciding whether or not they're going to watch your video within seconds. So you want something that's going to grab their attention and keep them pretty immediately. Always keep trying and testing new content. You can see what's performing well for other accounts, but you're never going to know what's going to be the next big thing. And you could be the person that discovers it. So try a couple of things that you know are going to perform really well. Try a couple of new things. Be willing to experiment. The last thing that I want to talk about, be very aware of TikTok's community guidelines. So you can find this when you go into your account information. You also Google it and find it online. But if you're on TikTok enough, you may find that certain words, specifically talking about violence, talking about sensitive issues, talking about death, will be censored by TikTok, and the performance and views of those videos will be suppressed. The TikTok community has found a couple of different ways around that, either not saying, some of the key words like killed or died in their videos. Some of them have come up with alternate lingo, which may not be appropriate for your account to engage in. So especially if you're an organization or a principal, particularly serious, sensitive content that has words that may get banned. I see a question, is there a list of these words? I have not found one yet. There isn't really, from my understanding, TikTok does not provide a list of these words that get suppressed. Sensitive content, if you are dealing with something that has to do with violence against an individual, if you are dealing with something that deals with what is currently defined as illegal activity, if you are dealing with anything involving weapons. So the way this may impact is if you have an organization working on sexual violence, if you have an organization that is dealing with individuals who are at high risk of assault, if you are dealing with gun violence, those are types of issues that can have your videos end up being suppressed by TikTok. The community guidelines will give you some level of overview. Some of it, unfortunately, you're only going to discover as you are going through with that, like your content and your material, and you're discovering what's getting suppressed and what is not getting suppressed. So especially if you're an organization, I would recommend trying to get in touch with TikTok, if at all possible, to talk about what your content is going to be, have them be aware of it. Unfortunately, though, a lot of this seems to be done via automation. So it's tricky. It's not a perfect platform at the moment. There's a lot of things that can be difficult to deal with. And so I would work that into your process of brainstorming content, thinking about how you're going to be talking about issues that may get you dinged by community guidelines, and coming up with an action plan for trying to make sure that your content gets seen, that you are working with a TikTok representative so that they know that your content is educational or activist in purpose, which may help if your videos get reported, but try to work on that in advance and be aware of that as you're starting to get into this. So let's jump ahead here and go to our next segment, which is going to talk about best practices, hopefully answer a few more of your questions here.
Thanks, Alyssa. Hey, everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about some best practices. So first, I have a question for you. If you're on TikTok, or maybe even if you're on Instagram Reels, because there is a lot of overlap, as Shauna and Alyssa mentioned, what are some of the videos that you find yourself engaging with? What are the ones that that stick out in your memory versus ones that you're just swiping right by? And maybe let's start to have a conversation around why we think some are engaging versus others. Awesome. I'm seeing content specific to topics that people like dogs or books or finances, trends and funny sounds, short videos. I skip over the ones where the person doesn't get to the point within 5 seconds. I think that's really good. Good takeaway. What else? Short videos that are easy to follow. Hacks, firsthand stories. I always have time for stories. I love that. Funny trends. Great, this is a great start. And I think this is really relevant for the conversation we're gonna have. Okay, so what makes a TikTok unique? From my perspective, I think there's a couple things that we're gonna talk about, but I think one thing to note, a lot of people think of TikTok as either like dance content. We've talked about that before, and of course that's no longer the case anymore. It's certainly much more than that. But the next thing that sometimes people think about with TikTok is like the idea of short form video and vertical video compared to other platforms like YouTube, for example. I think that is true, but the biggest difference with TikTok compared to other social media platforms is the For You page. So content is served to you on your feed, your For You page, via an algorithm. It doesn't have to do with your following status. So I don't need to follow someone in order to see their content. And that really changes the entire way that we engage with the platform, but also as content creators, we have to create content for the platform. So people, the algorithm rewards how much of the video people are watching. So the longer you watch a specific video, the algorithm is saying, oh, you like this, and I'm going to serve you more videos like this. So things like likes, comments, shares, not to say that they are not important, but they are less important than watch time. And I think this is really interesting. And this is, I think, also why people tend to think that TikTok is really good at figuring out what you like. If you think about a platform like Instagram, for example, you might, your friend might post a video and it's 5 minutes long and maybe you don't watch it, but you like it because it's your friend's video. TikTok, that wouldn't really make a difference to them versus maybe you're watching a video and you're super engrossed in it, but you don't want to leave a like. That's the kind of content that it recognizes that you're really paying attention to. Okay, so what makes TikTok unique? This specifically, and you'll see that this really changes the way that that people make content. So let's go ahead and play these videos.
Really like Komodo dragons.
If you could talk to Komodo dragons, what do you think you'd say to them?
I love you, you're so nice.
What do you think they'd say to you?
I think they would just say thank you.
Do you think they'd say I love you back?
Oh yeah, maybe.
What would you do if you went to Panija?
I would just ride on all the Komodo dragons, but I know that Komodo dragons eat people.
Wait, what?
They eat people.
What?
This special animal eats people.
Are you afraid of them?
Nuh-uh.
Not at all?
Definitely not. They can eat people, which is so special.
Do you want to see an animal eat a people?
Actually, definitely, yeah.
Why?
Because it's like, I never seen an animal eat a person.
But you want to.
Yeah. Even though they might eat me, I still love them.
They're the best, basically, right?
Right. Basically.
Okay, so I love this video on the left, and actually it just stopped, but what it does on the platform is it actually loops. And I think one of the really fascinating things about recess therapy, and I think part of the reason why they're successful, and I wanted to show you guys like examples that were totally outside of, you know, the content that we work on, just to think, have us think a little bit bigger picture about content on the platform, is that it's actually hard to know when this video starts and stops. And so you'll actually start to watch it a few times before you realize, oh, I actually already saw this. And again, that rewards the algorithm, and the algorithm will then serve this video to more and more people. The other thing that a lot of you pointed out in the chat is that the editing is really fantastic in this video. I love the sound effects, the graphics, the words that they highlight, and the zoom in feature. I think it really creates a sense of movement in the video. And I think that really makes it more interesting. Let's watch a little bit of the second video. Okay, I think you get the idea with this video. Emily Mariko has kind of been blowing up on TikTok. I don't know if many of you have seen her before. I think some of the reasons why her content is effective, yes, it's definitely soothing. I think there's some ASMR qualities to it. I think there's a lot of, what's the word? It's really, I love watching the fact that she starts with a specific ingredient and you don't know what she's gonna make. So it's kind of like fun to watch the whole video and see what she makes. Again, that rewards watch time and that rewards the algorithm. So wanted to just show you some completely out of the box examples before we move into some of the other points. The next thing I wanted to make sure to say is be consistent. If you aren't seeing success in the platform right away, don't worry about that. The only way you're going to get better at content is making content. And this is true with every single creator on TikTok. Again, because of the way that content is served, you can have 10 million view or 10 million followers on the platform, and that doesn't actually equate to success. So you have to do your best kind of like all the time in order to get those viral videos. But again, the only way you're going to get there is to just by creating content. So keep at it. Try to post a few times a day. And if you have content that totally bombs, don't worry about it. Just keep going and you'll finally figure out what performs best for you. Another thing to keep in mind is that you really need to focus on making a specific TikTok and not an ad. So I've worked with a lot of brands where they think that they can kind of work with the same production companies that they did maybe their TV ad or some of their other branding materials and just reformat that for TikTok. And while that may be successful, I think if you are really, really smart in how you edit it, really TikTok is its own special community, and it kind of knows when there's outsiders, and TikTok doesn't like those outsiders. TikTok wants to see TikToks. They don't want to see ads. They want to see those fast editing cuts that Alyssa and we talked about with recess therapy. They want to see looping videos. They want to see weird stuff even, and they want to see low production value, which also I think Alyssa mentioned. Higher quality videos don't always perform better, and they actually tend to perform worse. So here's a couple of examples for you that I wanted to share from Gen Z for Change.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah.
Representative Yoho put his finger in my face. He called me disgusting. He called me crazy. He called me out of my mind. He called me dangerous. Representative Yoho called me, and I quote, a fucking bitch. I am here because I have to show my parents that I am their daughter and that they did not raise me to accept abuse from men.
And we can go ahead and play the next one. Yep.
Please boost this video.
An Afghan man, who we will call Mohammed, was working with the US government for over a decade and consequently was targeted by the Taliban.
In 2010, Mohammed.
This one is quite long, so I didn't want to play it in full, but I think some of these videos, I think some of the things that they have in common here, they're swapping creators pretty quickly. So I think that keeps it really fresh for the user, and as a result, they're kind of engaged because they want to see who's showing up next. A lot of these creators in these videos are also really recognizable among Gen Z. So it's also really exciting for them to see, oh, I know that person. I know Brooklyn. I know Matt Taylor. And again, kind of see maybe who's going to pop up next. It also moves at a pretty fast clip. I think Alyssa mentioned that as well. It's not the kind of traditional way that we think about talking or kind of the narrative story arc that we might think of with the traditional video. It's really how quickly can we kind of move on and move to the next. Again, this kind of all rewards watch time, which all helps performance of your video. The other thing to keep in mind, if we can go, yep, perfect, is again, it really needs to be entertaining. So people go to TikTok to be entertained. Traditionally, they're not really going there to learn. We're trying to kind of make them learn with a lot of our content, but first and foremost, it has to be entertaining. It has to be a good video, or else people won't watch it, and then the algorithm won't serve your video. Interestingly, we kind of know that people are watching TikTok like they watch TV. 30% of US TikTok users claim that they're watching less TV or streaming services since they've joined TikTok. And teens spend about 80 minutes a day on TikTok. So you can think of that almost like an hour and a half long movie. Most TikTok users also access the app daily. So this is actually how I watch TikTok. I watch TikTok like, am I gonna watch an episode of Bravo, Below Deck, or am I gonna go on TikTok for an hour? I sit down and I focus on the app. I'm not doing other things because I want to be entertained, because I want to use it for fun, entertaining content. So your content first and foremost has to be entertaining. Another thing that you can do is engage in trends. I know a lot of other people mention this as well. This can mean trending sounds, but also trending memes. So sounds, meaning the audio is actually kind of the meme, versus the meme itself, where it's more maybe the way that the video is constructed or the visuals that align with the video. Dances, of course, are what TikTok is known for. I would say really only do this if you're kind of like an expert dancer, or else I think this can go pretty poorly. It also, I think, can read a little hello fellow kids, depending on, your age and kind of how you're approaching the platform. TikTok, I think I mentioned this in the chat, but it's really interesting. TikTok wants to pigeonhole you as the user and you as a creator. So once they know that you like this specific thing, it's going to serve you more content of that specific thing. So this is why it's helpful to engage in some of these trends, because it helps kind of piggyback on the success of someone else. So if that trend is moving along or is kind of gaining speed and you jump on that trend with your content, it's likely to kind of show your video to other people who have engaged with that sound already, which might actually broadcast your video to a wider group of people. So here are two quick versions for you.
My mama for a Japanese soda and I got Starbucks. And a cake pop, a $2.50 cake pop.
Do you understand?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't really understand, but I
So in the first example, Gen Z for Change both talked about vaccines and wanted to make sure that there was educational information in there, but also, again, we're using a trending sound. And I think another funny thing to note here is that we also mentioned Taylor Swift joining TikTok. So again, it's educational, it's fun, but it's also, or it's entertaining, it's fun, but it's also educational. In the second video, I absolutely love this video. It's like one of my all-time favorites that the team has ever made. Don't Talk About Bruno, which is obviously huge on TikTok. And also the Phineas and Ferg sound. Well, I'll be honest, I don't really understand. I think the editing is really good in this video, and I think the facial expressions are really good in this video also. Be timely. Rapid response and breaking news content also performs really well. We've seen this time and time again, and we can also quickly show these videos. We don't have to watch all of them by any means.
All transgender children and parents of transgender children in the state of Texas are now subject to investigations of child abuse because Greg Abbott sent a letter to the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services saying basically that they are now required to investigate all transgender children.
So in that example, Olivia, one of our creators, is based in Texas, so she tends to be very on top of what's going on in Texas. And as soon as this came out, she created a video for it, and it performed pretty well for us. The second video, honestly, not even worth playing, but the point is that we took a lot of clips from the State of the Union and also reposted those to our account, and those also performed well. So in this case, we didn't even really add any content to it. It was just straight clips of things that we thought were really great from the State of the Union and wanted to make sure that folks on TikTok saw. You'll see in a couple of these examples, I think this is relevant here too, short content performs best. A lot of you said this in the chat too. 30 to 50 seconds for kind of like a direct to camera speaking kind of video is really best. 60 seconds you can kind of think of as your absolute max. If it's a sound, you could even go much, much lower, or a trending sound or kind of a meme. We'll see some of the videos we already played. Those are closer to probably about 10 seconds only. And those perform well. They're funny, people engage with them. They don't have to kind of get sucked in, and they can kind of move on. Alyssa mentioned this, but TikTok actually just increased their maximum length up to 10 minutes. So originally it was about 60 seconds. They increased that to 3 minutes, and they just increased it to 10 minutes. So I think this is really interesting in terms of where TikTok as a platform thinks it's going. From my perspective, I think this means that they're really trying to compete with the YouTube segment. I haven't seen any 10-minute video yet, and I'd be really cautious about trying this, but this might change. I think in 6 months, we could see that longer videos are working well on TikTok. So let's play a couple of these examples. Great. And on the next slide, we have a little quiz for y'all. We're going to play 2 different videos, and which one do you think performed better?
It's officially all. The long-awaited $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill has officially passed, and a lot of long-awaited investments are coming your way.
La sui montagna, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 seppellire volta su in montagna, sotto
Okay, which one do we think performed better? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of twos. I'm seeing a few ones. Folks who said two, you are correct. We do, and both these are by Victoria, obviously, who you're going to hear from in a second. I would say for Gen Z for Changes content and Victoria's content, we do both of these things, right? We do kind of very straightforward, here's what's going on videos, but we also do a lot of trending videos. And it's not to say that one is better than the other, but I think this is a good example of kind of breaking news, important news. And sometimes if you can kind of wrap it up in a different way that's unexpected, it can perform better. So awesome. I'm going to kick it over to Victoria.
Hey y'all, so we're going to talk a little bit about growing your audience. So first and foremost, your audience will not help you with the For You page. So while having an audience can give you that initial boost, you know, Gen Z for Change will never post a video that only gets 10 views. You still need to make viral worthy content in order to go viral on this app, unlike YouTube and some other platforms. So on the right here, we have an example of this. This creator has a large following, but still on videos that are not as well done, they don't get the views that they normally would see. And then, yeah, so how do people find your content? So like I said, most people find content through the For You page, which you can see this stat up on the slide. 86% of the views are coming from the For You page. And then in addition to that, you can look at hashtags. So for example, Made to Save was a hashtag related to COVID-19 information and vaccine information. So if people wanted to see more videos about that, they would click that hashtag and then that would show them the videos using that hashtag. So definitely utilize that feature so that your videos can get more exposure. And then in addition to that, a fun thing to do is say either duet me or stitch me with this. So like stitch this with the craziest thing that happened to you in the airport. Something like that will give your video a lot of engagement and can make your video go viral. And then beyond that, if we look at collaborating with creators. So this is what Gen Z for Change does really, really well. All of us in the network are creators ourselves. And yeah, the most important thing is really understanding the creator community, which being creators ourselves, we have a good understanding for this. When reaching out to creators for collaboration, it's important to be familiar with their content. You know, me as a creator, I post about politics and advocacy work, and I've had brands reach out to me to like advertise remote control cars, which obviously like that's not very fitting for my platform. So I'm probably not going to respond to those emails. So being familiar with creators in the political space and in the advocacy space is really important and can increase your audience by a sizable amount. And then another great thing that you can do is creating series, which we also have done on Gen Z for Change. Series are just videos that all kind of follow the similar theme. And so if people see one of the videos within your series and really like that video, they are more likely to go to your page and check out the other videos in that series, which can obviously not only help with views, but can also increase your following, because people want to see more of that content. So I'm going to go ahead and give a heads up. We do use some harsher language in this series specifically, just because that's the nature of TikTok. You know, that's typically how people talk on the app, but we can go ahead and play the video on that link.
Oh, hey, welcome back to another episode of Drum Roll, Please! Dumb shit your politicians did this week, where we talk about, you guessed it, dumb shit your politicians did this week. Here are a list of people who guessed this week's dumbass politician, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, and so that's good. But yeah, so that's a series that we do every single week. Dumb shit your politician did this week. It gets people coming back. People are almost excited for their politician to be mentioned. We'll get comments being like, please talk about so-and-so. Which is pretty funny. So that's been an effective way for us to boost our following. And you can see the editing follows similar patterns as we've discussed in previous slides. And then we've got part 2 and 3s. So as we discussed earlier, making short content is really effective, but you can't always get everything you want to get out in short content like that. So that's where you might make a part 2 or a part 3. This is a clip from Good Morning Bad News. Really, really fantastic TikTok account. I think that they do this very well. They wanted to talk about how the boomer generation was leaving the workplace. And instead of making a 3-minute long video, they made 3 1-minute long videos, which, as you can see, did very well for them view-wise. And then in addition to making part 2s and 3s, if we go to the next slide, you can see being consistent really helps you boost your audience. People want to know what they're going to see from you whenever they follow you. So people who I think have done this very well are this cleaning account, which I saw some people mention earlier that they were really on Clean Talk. And so I think that this creator does this really well. Not everybody is super interested in cleaning videos, but if you are interested in cleaning videos, you are going to follow this account, which is really great because they're able to find a niche that will really uplift their content. And then here on the right, we've got Under the Desk News, which I saw someone shout out earlier as well, who I think does this very well. Every video, you know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be the same person under the desk talking about the news. And that has allowed them to create a really sizable following. And yeah, that's it. So these are Madeline and I's emails if any of y'all have any questions about any of this after the Q&A.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Madeline, Victoria, Alyssa, and Shauna for such a wonderful presentation. And thank you so much, everyone, for being so engaged in the chat and helping answer questions. That was really helpful. I really hope this was helpful for folks on the call. And we're going to open it up to questions now. So please use the Q&A feature on Zoom or type your questions in the chat. We're going to try to get to as many questions as possible. All right, so first things first, let's answer this one. So for small organizations with no dedicated social media coordinator, would you suggest putting the majority of time and resources into a TikTok account over investing in other social media platforms? Who wants to answer that one? Alyssa?
Yeah, I can take a crack at this first. So I think it depends on your overall communication strategy. The first thing you want to think about is who is your audience that you're trying to reach? What are your skills as a social media manager? And then do you have content that can lend itself easily to the platform? What I will say is that there's a very strong case to be made for being on TikTok just by the sheer size of the audience and how much time that people are spending on the platform. I will also say that TikTok content can be repurposed easily to Instagram because the TikTok videos can be uploaded to Reels as long as they're under 60 seconds. And if you are particularly trying to reach a younger audience, this is where the audience is. So it's a hard question to definitively say yes or no to. But if your audience is there, if you as a team of one feels comfortable with video content and are willing to put in the time to learn the platform, and you have another platform like Instagram already, you have an audience there, you have content there, and you're looking for something to add to it, I'd say yes, definitely consider putting more time and energy on TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's do another one from Jordan. So do you have one person dedicated to TikTok? How do you assign video content tasks? And what is your overall process to creating these videos, especially if you're posting 1 to 3 times a day? Who wants to answer that one? Shauna?
I can start. I can take a little bit of that. So for our organization right now, it is one person dedicated, which is me, doing our TikToks and stuff like that. I do, if there are topics, particularly around certain issue areas where we have an expert on the staff, like student debt, we have an expert on the staff about that. I'll try to task out for certain type of video ideas if they're interested, to try to get them on in a video. But ultimately, I think having one dedicated person, if you're a nonprofit or an organization, it does help with your audience becoming comfortable with always seeing that one person, getting familiar with them. So I do find that to be beneficial. And then for our process, other folks may have more of a fleshed out process, but for us, we don't have an approvals process. I pretty much draft from conception to the video, only partly because I am a one-woman shop right now, but also that's our general process for social media. So there may be some other folks on the call that can answer more about what their process is. But for me, I find trending sounds, and then I think of a way to finesse it towards politics, draft it, film it, and then I'll review it. And if there's anyone that needs to check research or stuff like that, then I'll reach out to folks in our organization and then post. But more folks may be able to answer that part of the question.
Amazing. Thank you so much. All right, we have another one here from Danielle. Once you capture a TikTok audience, what's your next step on the ladder of engagement? I see a lot of people pushing their Instagram links and bios, or do you try to push to website? Seems like TikTok audiences aren't very sticky in that they may see one viral video and then nothing else from you. So how do you try to make that stickier? So I think this is a really good one, right? Because as advocacy organizations, you want people to take action. So it's not just seeing your video. Who can take this one?
I'd say, as for taking action, having a call to action at the end of a very, trendy video or well done video is extremely effective. And as long as that call to action is very easy. So things that we've had massive success in are like, click the link in our bio to sign the petition. It only takes 3 seconds. Stuff like that. I feel like you see a high conversion rate of how many views you get versus how many people actually take that action.
Awesome.
One point I'll also add is that what I've seen particularly effective from accounts is when there's a action that you're asking them to take, which has a real tangible impact. There was groups coordinating to cause some trouble for Trump's rallies by reserving all of the seats there and then not showing up to it. There was a lot of organizing on TikTok for taking down the abortion whistleblower website in Texas. And I don't think Texas has been able to keep a running whistleblower website like that up since, which congrats, Victoria, that was amazing. So I think that, what I found particularly impactful is if you have something like that, if you can tell people, I need you folks who are here in this state to go contact this representative to do something. I need you to go to this website and fill in a bunch of nonsense in order to stop them from doing that. I have found that people are extremely aware now of what is a real impactful action that they can take. And so being more focused on things that can really make a difference is helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's do another one. This one might be one that people might apply to a lot of people here. So by Martin, people are always playing music on TikTok, but I don't exactly understand the rules of the road for what music would my NGO have legal rights to use as a background for a TikTok video. So what is and is not fair game to use? Go ahead.
Actually, I can answer this one because I've been in an ongoing fight about this.
Okay, yeah, Alyssa and then Madeline.
I could kick it. So TikTok will tell you what you are allowed to use and what you're not allowed to use. And the big problem comes when you are verified. Their technical rules, which I have also seen extremely unevenly applied, is that if you are verified as a government or political organization, that you will not be able to access the commercial sounds library. So this is like a top 10 music kind of deal. I've also seen, which is absolutely hilarious, the Reading Rainbow song has been like a trending audio lately. And there are a lot of PBS local stations who haven't gotten permission to use that audio, even though technically legally they should, because TikTok excludes that sound from their commercial sounds library. And they have to go through this whole arduous process to show that, yes, they do have the legal rights to use that audio. So TikTok, if you get verified, will tell you very quickly what you're not allowed to do to use and what you are. And I'm currently in a lovely discussion with them about that. So yeah, have fun.
I was just going to add, since I answered this in the Q&A box also, TikTok is like a lawyer's worst nightmare. So I'm just going to be honest about that. Like, I would almost not ask your lawyer about it. If First of all, the music industry is actively putting their music on the platform. They know that this is a huge driver for sales. We've seen this from, Lil Nas X to Olivia Rodrigo to Fleetwood Mac Dreams, right? It's a huge driver into top Billboard. So for music, they're putting it there. They understand that they're getting paid. Don't worry about it. For other sounds that might be licensed, I would say, again, not a lawyer, as long as it's already on the platform and you're using it, don't really worry about it. The issue is really if you were to download the TikTok video with the sound and then try to upload it to YouTube or try to use it in an ad, then of course you're going to run into huge licensing issues. I was in charge of getting licensing for a lot of TikTok videos for a live broadcast thing on TV, and it was a nightmare. So it is kind of a lawyer's worst nightmare.
Appreciate the honesty there. All right, let's do one or two more. Daisy asked, what is the best practice to create a TikTok squad of volunteers to help you create content?
I would say, and obviously I'm biased because we're Gen Z for change, but I would say the most important thing is getting together young people who are natural consumers of TikTok. I think that that's going to help your content perform the best for sure.
Awesome. And then one more that's kind of a counterpart to that is, how can an organization with older leaders, members, volunteers use TikTok without sounding like an embodiment of that Saved by the Bell, greetings, fellow kids meme? Anyone have any tips for that?
I can answer that one. We definitely have a range of folks at Public Citizen. So I think it's all about just being natural. Like, don't worry about, having to be having to hit all these certain points. Like, just watch. I recommend, and what I do for our experts is I'll send them a couple of TikTok videos of like, this is the vibe of how TikTok is like. And just helping them move along the process of, this is how you can be more natural on camera. These are the type of terms that you could use if you're comfortable with using these terms, and showing them the trends or putting them in a trend. We had a trend that we used with someone that was older, and it performed really well, honestly. So I think it's all about getting them comfortable with being on camera, and then also getting them comfortable with how TikTok runs as a platform, and then go from there. And then you can gauge how having different people and older leaders in your organization being on that platform.
Yeah, and there really are people, all age ranges on TikTok. So don't be intimidated. Definitely just create an account and start posting and see what happens there. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up the Q&A section. I know you guys probably have more questions. We could probably talk about TikTok endlessly, but I hope what we've shared with you guys so far is really helpful as an initial starting point. So let's talk about some next steps. So we have a few more things to share with all of you before we wrap up for today. So first, let us know in the chat, what is one key takeaway that stuck with you from this training? What is something you learned, something that you maybe didn't know before, a misconception you might have had about TikTok that you now have more knowledge on? Sometimes it just takes one good video. Explainers can work. Watch time versus engagement. People watch TikTok like they watch TV. Yes, these are all great. Amazing. Thank you guys for sharing. All right, so another thing I want to add is so if you guys are worried about having to remember all this helpful information that you learned today, don't worry, because we have created a TikTok guide for advocacy organizations. I'm going to be sharing that with all of you later today. And we hope both this training and the resource guide is going to be helpful to you as you plan out your social and digital strategies over the coming months and years. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you would like help in crafting TikTok communications plans and content. I'm going to be adding everyone's email addresses to the follow-up email. We really are here to help and be a resource for you guys. So please feel free to reach out after this training. And lastly, we'd love to hear any feedback you may have about this training. Kirsten's going to share an evaluation link into the chat, and we really welcome any and all feedback. So please take out that survey. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. And we're here if you need us.